Hello, everyone. This is Giselle Thompson. Thank you for coming to the Live the Life You Want speaker series. The goal here today is to learn how, practical strategies and ideas on how to overcome adversity, be happy, and live the life of your dreams, because these things are possible. I wanted to do this because I was in a dark place in my life, and I had learned from others how to let that go and really strive for the things that I really wanted, and it's been an exciting journey. And today I want to introduce you to Dr. Lisa Leit. She's has a very exciting background. She's the founder of the Happy Whole Human Holistic Wellness Institute. She obtained her PhD from the University of Texas at Austin in human ecology, with an emphasis on psychology of interpersonal communication. Her dissertation is very interesting. It's on conversational narcissism in marriage. I just thought it was a great fit for what we're trying to do today, because as you're trying to change your life, you're negotiating relationships, often with the people you love the most, and things change. And how do you figure out how to make those changes? So that is why I'm very excited to have Dr. Leit with us to share with us what she's learned in her life and her experiences on how to negotiate those relationships when you're trying to turn your life around. Thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So what can you tell us, Dr. Leit, about negotiating your close relationships with your partner, your family, when you realize that the life that you're living is not quite what you want, and you want something different, but you don't want to be losing anybody along the way either?
Yeah, no, it's a really big dilemma that a lot of people face when they're on that brink of that opportunity. They feel the opportunity and the calling to improve and to go for self-actualization. But the risks are real. The risks are that they will lose relationships. Certainly relationship dynamics will have to shift and change. And not everyone has people close to them that have the capacity to change and evolve with them. And so immediately, sometimes it might take a moment or a lifetime, but it's never a guarantee that people are going to have the tenacity and the interest and willingness to evolve with someone. So it is a negotiation. There's a leap of faith aspect to self development, to really taking the bull by the horns and taking charge of our own lives and putting ourselves first in such a way that we can figure out what we need and want as people and put ourselves into context where we can thrive. Some relationship dynamics seem to necessitate that we do not assert ourselves in a way that feels like it is a threat to someone else's sense of themselves. And so that is a very real dynamic that a lot of people have to navigate. It takes a lot of courage to step outside of that and make the decision to grow, no matter who's able to come along or not.
So what practical things do you recommend people to try while they're growing and accepting that people may or may not be able to follow them in their growth? How do they stay steady and strong in what they're striving to do, and yet figure that out with the people around them?
I think it's helpful to me, and with many of the people that I work with clinically, to use research and theory to kind of back up practice. So basically, I really love Murray Bowen's family systems theory. He says that to be a mature adult, to act more and more maturely and more functionally, to improve our functionality, we have to learn how to be autonomous and stay connected with other people at the same time. That actually is the goal of adulthood. to become mature and really be able to have autonomy while maintaining our relationships. Not have to write anyone off, not have to cut ourselves off, but find a balance between that. And he says it's really no one's perfect at it. That's his conclusion, that everyone can approach it as a goal, but it is an ongoing practice. And my research, I want to say this because I believe that it's really, we have a lot of misconceptions. And my research found, like Charles Derber did in 1979, that most of us are enacting patterns of imbalance where we put others above ourselves or ourselves above others chronically, to a point where we're not really paying attention to what anyone needs or wants, what we need or want, or what other people need and want. So for any one person to take the bull by the horns and say, I believe that deep down I'm not fulfilled and I think there's something calling for my attention, like it or not, that needs some attention right now. In other words, claiming that right to be autonomous, not can easily be misunderstood. I think this is what you're getting at. Tell me if I'm hearing you correctly. Can easily be misunderstood as a desire to leave the relationship, and people can get very afraid. And so, in terms of practical tools, I think it's really important to first and foremost turn our attention away from other people and really put our thinking minds in charge of our emotions, so that when really predictable emotions, strong emotions come up, fear, stress, anxiety, we can navigate them using tools. There are lots of tools to use to manage emotions, and then connect to our core whole selves and figure out what we need as individuals, what we need and want, because whether we are honest or not, they're there and they do emerge, whether whether it's in a sense of ease and grace that we are able to communicate honestly, or whether it comes up like flowers through the cracks in the sidewalk. Our needs and interests, our true selves will assert themselves. And the more we can be honest and courageous and communicate from a calm place what we need and want from others, and take full accountability and make it about ourselves, and weather the storms of disapproval that people have, of like, you're being selfish right now, you should be not focused on yourself, you should be focused on me and what I want you to be and the way you've always been. But there's a critical point where we have to decide who we're going to put first, and responsible adults put themselves first and communicate in a way that is extremely caring, but does not abdicate or make oneself invisible.
So that's a lot of information to take in, and I think it's very helpful to remind us that balance between, you said, autonomy and connection. And I think in some of your research, if I understood correctly, not only are you looking at that balance at the individual, familial, close relationships level, but more at organizational and societal. Can you share a little bit your thoughts around that interweaving between I am changing and I may or may not be leaving you depending on how we can negotiate this relationship? How does that impact the larger world around us? And how does our reactions to it in a healthy or non-balanced way reflect back into the relationship?
Okay, so the first question, I just want to make sure I understand. The first question is, what are some implications for the macro? Is that right?
Yes, correct.
And what was the second question?
The second one is, and we can come back to it after, those implications at the macro level, depending if they're balanced or not, then affect us at the micro level. So let's just start with the first question.
Okay. Sounds
Sorry about that.
sure I'm understanding. Okay, so the first question, basically, I think I can use an example of Whole Foods because I did a beta with them. We betaed the Happy Whole Human program
Okay.
with them. The genius founder of their training academy, the Academy for Conscious Leadership, Jessica Agnesens, she said, "Oh my goodness, this is a Happy Whole Human in being a program that examines codependence and narcissistic tendencies in individuals and practices is identifying a blind spot that we have never looked at before." And what she said was so, this is what the research supports too, but coming from an organizational level, this is what her observation was. She said, it is possible. Like, what a revelation. She said, it's possible for individuals to take care of themselves and actually contribute more to the organization that they're working with or working at. So it actually is not selfish to have boundaries. It is not selfish to have a balanced life, to have work-life integration that makes sure that everyone gets what they need and want.
Okay.
It is actually practical, and it sets everyone up on every level in the organization for success, in that everyone's fundamental needs can be met. People aren't burning out, people aren't feeling resentful, people have integrated lives, and they can actually, for the long term, feel more energetic, more engaged, more happy to be there, because they feel that they can care for themselves in addition to contributing their best to their jobs. So, we're talking about an organization in this respect, but in this example, but we could be talking about a country. We could be talking about
Yeah.
any organization, any entity.
Okay. So at the family individual level, you work at being balanced and connected at the same time. And there are lots of different ways and strategies to do that you've talked about. And that, in fact, a lot of speakers have been bringing different angles and different approaches on how to do that, which then makes you feel capable to know where your boundaries are and express them.
Mm-hmm.
As well as communicate better, communicate what you need, all those things. So then you yourself become a stronger contributor as an employee, a stronger contributor, as a citizen.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are those things, then you are even more confident and more balanced and connected in your family relationships. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, you are cultivating, in so doing, you're cultivating your capacity to perform, to contribute more
Okay.
to your family, your work, or your country, or whatever it is, and to yourself. It is not always easy, and if you're embedded in a system, whether it's a family, a workplace, a
Mm-hmm.
country, where the dominant rules of the system are that it is not okay to be honest about who you are, what you need and want, to treat yourself and others with respect,
Yes.
countercultural, then it is predictable, and this is countercultural, so it is predictable that when
Yes.
we do connect honestly to what we need and want, and we are honest about what we see other people needing and wanting, if it goes against the grain, we can predict, and we can predict, because of the prevalence of narcissistic tendencies, that we will receive disapproval to whatever degree. It could be just someone giving us the silent treatment. It could be a
I
small,
see.
or it could be being, getting like court-martialed. I mean, it's just, depends on what we're dealing with, what level. It's actually
Yeah.
very courageous in some systems to be honest, even in the gentlest possible way, about what we deserve, what we need, and what we see other people needing, and helping them to have those needs met, it actually can be revolutionary. It doesn't seem like that is the way it should be, but it can be in
Okay.
fear-based. But my sort of what I want to bring, the message I want to bring to the world is that the research shows that is extremely healthy to be honest about what we need and want, and make sure we're in a context where we can thrive, and to help other people have the same thing, the same space, regardless of who they are, to have interactions that allow for that, that curiosity, that presence, that sense of give and take, and a sense of genuine curiosity and support. What do you need right now? What do I need right now? How can we move forward and get good results together?
Okay.
Which is not the norm. The norm is this should be happening. That should not be happening.
Right.
And when what should be happening happens, then we're going to say that's good, and it will have approval and it will have support. And when what should not be happening is happening, we will punish it somehow.
Yeah.
But that impedes progress because it's not present, it's not nimble, and it keeps us from opportunities to learn and to grow and to evolve.
So what I'm really appreciating, like, there's a lot of stuff here that is very helpful, and what I'm really, what's really captured me with what you said is, it's good to look after the whole happy human. It's normal, and there are ways to do it, but you will run into trouble because there are other tendencies, other forces in play in the system, either the organization, the country, the family, which is perceived as subversive.
That's right.
So as you are embracing that transformation within you, you would be wise to also anticipate how you will problem solve.
Yes.
The very real reality that others will resist it, not because they don't like you, not because they don't want you to grow. They're just in their place, in their mind, in their story of how things should be, and now you're changing the episode on them, and you didn't tell them you were changing the channel, or you're telling them you're changing the channel, but they still want to watch that channel. So you have to, there are probably lots of things that you help people figure out, with being patient, with being persistent, with developing the skills to anticipate and problem solve the resistance.
Absolutely. And I really want to stress the importance of knowing the numbers, so that
Okay.
it's predictable. It's
Okay.
normal, predictable. It's cultural to experience that resistance.
It will
That
happen.
it will happen. So when someone is courageous enough to embark on a process of personal growth and honesty, genuine honesty, coming out as themselves, basically, whatever that looks like. I really want to be a musician, or I really want to be a rocket scientist, or whatever it might be. I really love the color yellow, whatever it is, just something that maybe they weren't in touch with before. Living from that place is people who feel like they don't want to hear it. They want it to be about them, not you. There can be some resistance of like, no, this is supposed to be a different way. And so it is essential that we cultivate the capacity to weather tough emotions, anxiety. I don't want to upset this person. I don't like to be stonewalled. I don't like to be criticized. I want to be back in the good graces of this important. I don't want to lose them. It's really hard. But the really important thing to know with confidence is the people that love us the most are going to be there.
Yes.
They'll come.
So true.
They will come. If we are respectful of ourselves and others, we're gentle in our approach, we're honest, and wait for them to come around, because it really is a trade-off. No matter which way we go, we can betray ourselves and pretend we're not who we are, and slowly get less and less respect and attention, or and results, or we can we can make that brave decision and be honest about who we are, do the work to discover and communicate, and then navigate and collaborate. And that's really tough, but it's not necessarily more tough than feeling like being you're ingrained in those codependent patterns later, where we actually have lost our sense of self, and that can sneak up on us, and all of a sudden it can be paralyzing, debilitating, and heartbreaking. So it's really like, do we have the courage to reclaim our lives, be courageous, be honest, and weather people's disapproval and feelings of that in us being true, we're going to leave them or something like that. It's like, well, no, if they can respect us, we can respect their processes around it.
Yeah, like you said, it's not easy.
Right.
It's hard work.
Yeah.
But the cost to not support ourselves is a slow death, right? Like a slow internal death, because we're betraying ourselves. So you must see this a lot. You must.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I really feel that you've given a lot today, given a lot of your insights, and there's just a lot in this conversation for people to absorb and to understand how it applies to them. Is there one message out of everything that you've said that you would like people to carry with them in their hearts? If they forget everything else, because sometimes we do, what is that one thing you want them to hold on to?
Well, what's really coming to me right now to tell you right now is that what I would like people to get from this conversation is that it is not selfish for an individual to connect to what they need and want and be honest about it. It is, a lot of people think it's selfish, but it's actually responsible. So whether it's us doing it or someone in our lives doing it, that is actually a process that is trustworthy.
Okay.
And it's good for their individual well-being, mental and physical, and it's good for relationships for people to do that hard work. And it's not easy. So the more we can support ourselves and others in doing that work, and not having and getting past that idea that it's selfish to do it,
Okay.
giving ourselves, others, permission to be who they really are in an unconditional way, showing up as we are right now, including with our emotions around what's happening. And in that moment of total acceptance of ourselves and others, everything can change. There can be a new pathway. Everyone's let off the hook for the old patterns.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's really exciting. It looks like you witnessed it.
Yeah, I have.
That's awesome. Whew, this is it's a big conversation, and there are lots of parts to it, and I'm sure we could tease out a lot of other elements. I mean, you've been studying this for a long time.
A long time.
Yeah. Our interview, is a short interview, so I think it's a good place to close it. Mm-hmm. You've given a lot for people to think about and try. We had talked about that you have a gift for people that you'd like to talk about a little bit.
Absolutely, sure. So if any of the listeners are interested in downloading some self-hypnosis MP3 files on various topics that are related to holistic wellness, they are welcome to do so, and just providing a complimentary coupon code. So the coupon code is Live Life, all caps, LIVELIFE. I'm like, how do you spell that? But yes, Live Life, and if you use website happyhuman.com, and download there are 24 30-minute self-hypnosis MP3s on topics like connecting to your true self,
Wow.
weight loss, smoking cessation, energy and confidence, social energy, social confidence. Trying to think of what else is in there. Oh, overcoming codependence and narcissism. All kinds of topics. I can't think of all of them right now, but definitely listeners are welcome to do that.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Leit.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I really appreciate your time. And I'm really glad for the listeners. I'm glad that you were able to show up and listen to Dr. Leit's insights and experience. And do stay tuned for other interviews. It's been an exciting process, meeting up with a lot of different experts, sharing their perspectives on this topic of getting to your dreams. And it's so exciting that even though it's hard work, as we've talked about, when you take on the hard work, you do get to the result at the end. So it's so much better than, you know, those 1,000 cuts, that kind of self-betrayal that hurt you. So stay tuned, listen to more strategies and ideas to embrace that life that is yours. You just have to reach for it. Thank you, everyone.